Hey all, welcome to Cloud Hub. My name is Ramesh Swami. So today we are going to see what is an ARM template. So why do we really need to go for an ARM template? And what are the benefits that we receive when we go for an ARM template? Alright? So going with an example, so consider a scenario where a person requests you to create a single instance of a virtual machine. So you go to the homepage of portal.azure.com and you create a single instance of your virtual machine. So consider that comes a second requirement. A person requests you to create 50 instances of a virtual machine and 50 instances of a storage account and another 50 instances of a container. So how do you provision these resources at a time? Doing it manually is really a tedious job. So that comes the automation to play. Azure provides an ARM template where you can provision multiple instances of virtual machines, let it be a containers or a storage accounts. So this is the benefit that we have with the ARM template automation. So in this video we're going to see how to create a virtual machine with ARM template and how do we deploy that. And post that, I'll let you know how to create multiple instances of different services. Consider a storage account or a container or some other services. Right? Let's get into the demo. So here we're going to see how to create an Azure Resource Manager template. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to create a virtual machine instance. Just create, giving a new resource group name, demo VM, let the region be access, not going to change anything. So not going to not going to change anything. So next, go to next. So now it's running the final validation. It's taking a little bit of time. So you have your validation has passed, and now at the bottom you could see download a template for automation. So click on that and you could see the ARM template that has been created for your virtual machine instance. So normally what happens is what Azure does is at the front end, whatever fields you fill in for any virtual machine instance, at the back end it will be converted into a JSON object, which is JavaScript object notation format. Okay, so all the JSON files would be converted into an ARM template, and then it would be scheduled for uh, to deploy any VMs or any instances. Okay, so this is how the template would look like. You have a template and you have parameters, file access, parameters as well. So if you see here, you have parameters, file, and then variables, and then you have resources. So these are the 5 resources which gets created when you create an virtual machine. So one is the network interfaces, the NSG groups, and then the public IP address or VNet, public IP address, and then the virtual machine itself. Okay, so this has the basic generic template. So the parameters and what type of location it is, whether it should be string, network interface, and then the energy. So all the generic components will be mentioned in the template, and you have a parameters file wherein all the values which is passed to the main template will be mentioned here. You could see the location as value East US, and what is the network interface name. There are a few things which the Azure itself assigns, considering the network security groups and then the public IP address and etc. Okay, and you have an option to download it. So I'm just downloading the file. Once you download, you will have two files, which is the template.json and then parameters.json. Okay, so now we'll open the template.json file. Yeah, so once you download the template, you will have the template.json file and parameter.json. Okay, so once I open the template, it has the four main categories. One is the schema. This will be a default by deployment template of JSON, and the content version will be 1.0.0.0. So this is something like, suppose if you have different deployment files, you can have and versioning kind of stuffs here in the content version, and in the parameters it could have the different keys that is going to be passed to into the deployment file, and the values will be passed from the parameters.json file. Okay, next comes the variables. So variables are something like it concatenates a few of the references by itself. uh, the Azure itself does certain variables, creates few variables. In case if required for you, you can even create variables. So these we will see it in the next chapter. And then comes the resources, the actual resource which gets created via the ARM template. So you could see the network interfaces, and also there are certain dependencies for a particular resource to be created. So the network interface card depends upon the public IP address to be created first, and then the virtual network name to be created, and then the network security groups to be created. So for each and every any resources, there might be a few prerequisites that needs to be created, that is mentioned here in the resources. Okay. The next, coming to parameters.json file. So here we have the respective parameters that will be passed to the template.json file. So you could see the parameters of location value is East US, and then the network interface card, and then the network security group, and then the NSG rules. There are certain things which will be defaultly created by Azure, right? So this is how we create an ARM template. So coming to the deployment, right? So you have these templates and parameters file, and we have seen what are the things that are inside a template and a parameters file. So we have an option called add to library. So suppose if you wanted to have this template for future references for version, you can add it to library here. I'm just giving it as in demo 1, demo, and I can save this. So in this way you can, it's taking few minutes. So in this way you can create your templates and have it saved. So whenever required, you can utilize those templates to create your required resources. So it's taking a little bit time to create the template. So let's get into the visualize template. So if you could see, you can visualize, see what are the components that's being created in your template. Okay, so see, it creates a virtual machine, and then it creates network interface, and it creates a network security group, and the virtual network, and then the public IP, and the names that has been given to the particular resources is also being mentioned here. So this is how we can just see, visualize, so what kind of resource that's being created in an ARM template, right? Yeah, so our template has been saved. You just go and see my template here, and you could see your template is here. You can even go ahead and view your template, and you can edit your template. Okay, so this is how you create your template, and you can edit it. And now see how to deploy and template. So in the portal.azure.com, type in deployment. So deploy a custom template. Okay, so you just click on the deploy custom template. So Azure itself provides a common templates for creating a Linux virtual machine and for creating a Windows virtual machine and different web apps and SQL databases as well. Okay, or else you can create your build your own template in the editor. So what we can do is we can just create our own template. So what I'm going to do is just utilize the common template that's being used, common templates, which is provided by Azure. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to create a Windows virtual machine using the custom template, right? So it default by it fills in the required details. So in case if you want to change, you can change it. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to create a new resource group, RG1, and then my admin username password RG. So I think I'm just going to leave it as such, everything. So if you want to edit your parameters, you can edit your parameters here and click on next. So it's running the final validation. So validation is passed. I'm just going to create it. So it's now creating the virtual machine. So in this video, we have seen how to create an ARM template. So what are the details that's being provided in an ARM template? So in parameters.json file or in the template.json file, and how to create a sample or create a sample template, and how to deploy an instance of a template or an ARM template, I would say, right? So you can even deploy a custom template, or Azure itself provides a different custom template for deploying SQL databases and then virtual machines with Linux and then with Windows as well, right? So you can utilize those sort of things to deploy an instance of resources. So now we could see that the VM is created. So the resource is created, and you could see go to your resource, and you could see the different storage count, NSGs, public IP address, network interfaces, virtual networks, virtual machine, and disk has been created. So this is how we create an ARM template and we deploy it via the deployment portal. Okay, so in the next video, we're just going to see how to deploy multiple instances of any of the services, let it be an storage account or a container or a virtual machines, right? Thank you. Thank you for watching.